Hello everybody, Andrew Casey at Hypersanity Books. Today's case study video is taking a look at Dissociative Identity Disorder and Family Dynamics, referencing to the TV series United States of Terror. Full disclaimer, I am not a therapist, I am not your therapist. I am just some guy on YouTube doing videos, I write books, I love characterizations. With this discussion though, I've done some research within the field. Not everyone agrees on the subject matter, and not all professionals or even people with the disorder agree with a unanimous decision. They're just opinions. Otherwise, there are some interesting writing tips ahead. Let's get into it. Number 10. Tea.
Let's get downtown. Buy a bunch of new stuff.
We don't have any money.
Well, I raided Tara's wallet. We're fully laminated, baby.
Tea!
In a lot of real case scenarios, it's not uncommon for someone to have a persona that's stuck at the age of 16 for many years to come. With the T character, she mostly comes out connected to issues with her daughter, played by a much younger Captain Marvel. With the T character, I also find she has her own agenda. Being 16, she's rebellious, and she's also knows that she's a persona to the Terra character and wanting to have sexual relations with Terra's husband. He has a boundary set and a rule set to not have relations with the alters because he's having his relations with his wife. And it comes into some other important subject matter later on. With the T character throughout the series, yeah, she is quite destructive. There are other times where she helps to solve a problem in a different way, but most of it is a rebellious defense. Number 9, Buck.
Oh! Come on! Hey! What's going on here?
Not only did this little wannabe jack pop Katie's cherry, he roughed her up today.
What? Is that true? Did he touch you?
Buck sees himself as a Vietnam veteran, so the persona that's male. Also, this persona is first introduced when her daughter is roughhoused by a boyfriend, so former boyfriend. Buck stays out for a long time, so that's one of the other things with a dominant personality. With the more extreme part of Buck, when they get a name of one of the bigger abusers of Terra's life, the personality takes over between seasons, so there's some storytelling to say that he's travelled across country to go on a manhunt for this person. Number 8, Alice.
Tara, you just stand there and take it.
I know, I can't.
I mean, I feel like we're taking
Okay.
Tara.
What a marvelous shade.
Alice is the third persona introduced. So, meeting two parents from the school, in public, the way they talk to her, it's more derogative and insulting. They're referencing to the event of her being buck and kicking the other kid's ass. I'm not saying that's appropriate either. When it came to this situation, one thing that didn't work for her, which is also effective storytelling, when removing herself with her sister from that environment and that person, that's a good thing to do. They're toxic, fake people. They don't belong in your life. They are also insignificant characters to the story. And her sister then bombards her and nags her with how she should handle things better with people. And she's like, I know. And then she starts to sink in. The stress comes through. And then Alice comes out. A 1950s type of wife. Sticking to that stereotype. So the character works on a lot of baking, a lot of domestic duties. The character also sees herself as the wife to the husband Max. She also does not see herself as the proper biological parent to the children. Within this type of storytelling, though, it raises a different question. Who's the husband? Who's the wife? Who's the mother? Who's the father? When it comes to these types of case scenarios. Now, I'm not trying to be insulting on the subject matter. With the Alice character, she has a different way of problem solving that's effective. She also wants to have a lifestyle and have that time in the light.
Come on. Don't you want to make a baby?
No. Neither does Tara. She's got an IUD.
Number 7. the husband. There is some backlash to say he's the antagonist of the story. No, he is not. He is the deuteragonist, supporting character. Is he flawed? Absolutely. Has he been constructive to be helpful? Yes. Has he also criticised at times when he shouldn't? Yes. We are all human. Now, with the character, I also find there's a lot of different coping mechanisms that he uses throughout the show. So when another strong personality comes through, Tara has recently read a book from a doctor, and with this self-help situation, another personality has come forward.
Tara may have her problems, but it takes two to tango. You need to look at you.
He's also engaging with this new personality, being a therapist. So Tara has created a therapist for herself to help problem solve, because her other therapist and therapists out of the show have quit on her.
What the am I talking about? You're not a doctor. Look, if you see Tara, you tell her to pack a bag for the hospital. I'm making a long overdue phone call.
So she's trying to find some self-help tools to move the story along. So the Max character is quite effective through a lot of the storytelling when it comes to supporting his wife and supporting the family. And with running a business, landscaping and everything else that he's trying to do, he's also trying to leverage other people's time to create other sources of income to support the family. Number 6, Marshall is my favourite character. The Marshall character is very level-headed. Is he at risk? Yes. Is he at risk daily and in unexpected ways? Yes. Is he a minor? Yes. Are all case scenarios the same? No. Not all people with the disorder are a threat to their children. In this case study, in this scenario, it is very different. Marshall has this monologuing scene that happens in the story. I have a lot of scenes that I liked with his character. With this scene, there is a lot of different context, but it's what he says and how he says it with someone else that's being passive-aggressive. Now, some relationships are not going to work out, and some friendships should not turn into romantic relationships. There are some people who want a relationship with someone who is attracted to the same sex. Now, that's not a way to live your life, to try to be married to someone who has different thoughts and processes.
You have got to go, okay? This is the worst possible time.
I'll leave. I just want to give you this. It's a liar box. You said you cared about me. You said we were going to make this work. Now you're dumping me, and all I want is a simple explanation.
This was never a real relationship. You're so afraid of finding out who you really are. You'd rather be married to someone you know is gay than risk being rejected by someone who could actually love you.
Number 5. 2 of my least favourite characters. The 2 characters that I do not like within the show is the Charmaine character, who is very self-indulged in themselves. She also misleads the Neil character romantically. Also having a unplanned pregnancy to him, also not a good thing. With the daughter, the Kate character, I didn't like the character, although I will argue against myself. From the beginning of the series, she has a bad boyfriend. She also then works in a workplace with a store manager that's not that much older than her, but also very manipulative in the way that he misleads her. She also threatens to sue the company, so not necessarily a good thing, putting yourself in bad situations. I know the argument can go different ways, so please don't put harsh things in the comments. The character has also put herself online. We see a lot of different behaviours in social media where things are being normalised. No, it's not. Now, with different chat rooms and things, she's expressing herself for other men. When she gets more control of her life, and I like this character change, she also developed towards having a more stable relationship, even though the new partner has a child with a lot of different challenges. What does this have to do with Tara? It's part of the family dynamic. It's watching your children grow up. There is also the other part, the earlier behaviour of the daughter, also was triggering the Terra character, and a lot of the personas, especially the T character, would come out. Number 4, Gimme. Not many cases of DID are affiliated with a personality or persona that's animalistic. It's the behaviour. It is also a different safety mechanism of something more extreme to childhood trauma, which is starting to unfold in the series why Terra has so many issues and unresolved issues that were not supported by her parents. Number 3, depths of childhood abuse. In the more serious case, the Terra and her sister are travelling and they reconnect with one of the foster care parents that they had through a time that they weren't cared for by their parents. With some of the story unfolding, there was another personality that came through called Chicken, where Terra is a 5-year-old girl. From this home as well, the caretaker is a representation of the Alice character, or the Alice character's representation of this person, more accurate. Now, that is also a comfort zone. There are people that we meet within our life that we inspire to be like, and as a way of coping for a child's mind, it was unfamiliar with her having that problem of DID wanting to be called Chicken and having that persona. Now, with the Alice character, you would think that was the first personality and the one that's been around the longest. Number 2, antagonistic figure.
We will be studying letters such as PTSD, OCD, MPD.
I think it's called DID now.
Oh, don't do that.
Within the 3rd season, she's trying to do further education to support her mental health. Now, that's not a bad thing. With the stresses of study, the stresses of pressure of school, there is also the antagonistic teacher who does not believe in DID. This is also very problematic for the character, where he has that figure as a role. Now, one thing that happens, it unfolds different personalities while she's taking a test, and there's this paused moment where everyone has left the room except for him and her, and he's fascinated by what he sees, to all the pen marks everywhere. She's coming back too from all the different personalities arguing and fighting, where she's sort of at a table amongst the other personalities, and the Gimme character and the Chicken character are under the table, but it's negotiating with the other personalities to take control of her life and to come forward.
We are going to draw up a contract. All of you will write down what's important to you and what you want out of life.
Doesn't sound like no democracy to me.
Well, it ain't.
The character, he starts to engage with her more and challenge the character Terra with certain situations. So with her mother, instead of being a different personality, you be yourself to deal with that, and starts to work through that transition of a healing fractured relationship. Now, I will also say, from other experiences, I also have boundaries with certain people set, because there are some people I would never trust, and unfortunately some people in life, you have to work in with them to some extent. So there are some people who are bad for you, and you don't need them in your life. Number 1, prosecutor alter. From their father, who was disassociated from his son, which is Bryce, was abusing the children in their younger years. That is the central antagonist of the story. With the Bryce personality, they even take him to the graveyard to show that Bryce is dead, has been dead for some years, and the persona doesn't believe it. So the persona is having control over their mother, over Terra. He is also killing off, literally and figuratively, the other personas. So he will have control of her mind. And that's one of the other reasons of different personas coming in to make the character feel safe. So the Bryce character did the abuse, and then the persona is created to carry on the abuse. But other personas are created to protect her from herself. So within this type of storytelling, was it accurate? It's debatable, because not all therapists and psychologists and experts are on the same topic or are coming to any unanimous decision talking about DID. It came to another point, how can she get help with what she's dealing with when what she's dealing with is an internal battle? And that's it for today. Hit like, subscribe, comment, and I'll be doing some more case study videos, and some characterizations are quite interesting that may help with your writing.